Oh, the 10X rule. Grant Cardone, the 10X rule. How are we doing, guys? Hello, replay viewers. Hello, everybody. We're reviewing the 10X rule, doing chapters 16 and 17 today. Find your voice now. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, throw up your names. Let me see who you are. I appreciate you inviting your followers. I'm going to let you know where... this was on the table with some things on it. But I'll let you know where you could get the book. Go to that bit.ly link, bit.ly/action10x, and get the book so you could follow along. Thank you so much for inviting your followers. Lorena, thank you for being here. Guys, what's up, Matthew? Great to see you here. Ruben, great to see you in the house. Roni, aka Jackson26, thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing it out on Twitter. Katie, Course Builder, thank you so much for being here. Hey, for those of you who are in the room who I don't know, let me know your name so that I could acknowledge you. And then after I do that, we're going to get into the 10X Rule chapters 16 and 17. Two of my favorite chapters, one being fear, because as a coach, I talk to people all the time about overcoming fear. And two, talking about time management. Hello, Kat. Great to see you. Faye A. Lawrence, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to assume your name is Faye, so I'll acknowledge you that way. Hey, guys, thanks for tapping that screen. It shows me that you guys are still here and that I didn't lose connection, number one. But number two, it makes me think that I'm giving you guys some, knowledge. I'm dropping some knowledge. So who would like some knowledge dropped? Put a 1 in the box. Hey, David, going great, my man. How are you? Oh, awesome. I love when people connect. Hey, guys, connect with amazing people in this room. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We're ready for knowledge to be dropped. Finally caught me live. Melissa, great to see you here. Drop it, drop it, drop it. Perfect. Let's do this. But before we do that, there are some new people in the room. Allow me to quickly introduce myself. My name is Ryan Roy. I am a success coach. I help people, businesses, small businesses, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, real estate agents, salespeople. I help them break down their large goals into small actionable steps. And then we help them crush those goals one step at a time by taking those small actionable steps. So let's do this. Number 1, chapter 16, the 10X rule. That's what we're covering right now. That's what we're covering right now. The 10X rule by Grant Cardone. Phenomenal book. If you guys have not read it, I highly suggest you do it. You could go to bit.ly/action10x to get the book. Let's go. Chapter 16. Fear is a great indicator. Fear is actually a sign of what you're doing needs. I totally messed this up in my notes. Fear is actually a sign that you're doing what is needed to get you to move in the right direction, people. If you don't have any fear, it means you're not taking enough action. If you're not like, man, I got 15 calls to follow up with, man, what am I going to do? Because you took massive action a day before. Do not take massive action and then go and not follow up with people. Have you guys ever heard this? I know Matthew has heard this. Matthew, you ever heard this? The money's in the follow-up. The money is in the follow-up, people. But a lot of people have fear in follow-up. A lot of people have fear around that. But if you took some massive action, you need to continue to take that massive action to follow up with the people that you connected with. How many of you have ever gone to a networking event? Put a 1 in the box. How many of you have ever gone to a networking event? Put a 1 in the box. I'm totally coming off side divergent from the notes. That's it. Follow up and continue to follow up. But how many, put a 1 in the box, has ever gone to a networking event and got a ton of business cards, or given out a ton of business cards, you're just waiting for that phone to ring and nada? Because people don't follow up. People went and met a lot of people that they felt that they needed to grab their card or give their card to, but then they don't follow up with anybody. I've been to those events, man. I stopped going to those events because I know it's a waste of my time, which we'll talk about in the next chapter, because I don't want to follow up with a bunch of random strangers. I want to connect with people like the people who are in this room. When I follow up with you on Twitter afterwards, or when I connect with you, or I say call me, or you guys follow up with me and I call you, that's what it's about for me. That's why I love to live stream. So know that fear, when you have enough of it, means you're going in the right direction. An absence of fear is a concern or a signal that you're only doing what's comfortable for you. Guys, if you're not getting out of your comfort zone, you're not building your business, you're building yourself, you're not building any muscle to have success. Hey, FC, welcome to the room. Talking chapter 16, fear is a great indicator. What is fear anyway? Does it exist? Is it real? Most of the time, what we fear doesn't even occur. We talked about that a couple chapters ago, that fear is in the future. The definition of fear is what? It is the anticipation of pain, which means it's something in the future which doesn't even exist. Good morning, God bless to you. It's slightly in the afternoon for me, though. Good afternoon from me to you, and good morning from you to me. He talks about this. How many of you know an acronym for fear? How many of you know the acronym for fear? F-E-A-R. Can somebody type in an acronym they've heard of fear? False is usually the first one. Just my thoughts. Thank you so much for joining. We're talking about the 10X rule here with Grant Cardone. And as I see hard stop, and that means false evidence appearing real. David says it. False evidence appearing real. Firecatcher says it. We all know this, and we got Find Your Voice Now also says it. So guess what, guys? In here, we could do a different acronym. Grant in the book says false events appearing real, right? False evidence, false events, false whatever appearing real. Here's the thing. You must reframe your understanding of fear and use it as a reason to move forward rather than an excuse to retreat. Use this frequently, avoiding the feeling as it's a green light for you to move forward. Think about that. We want to reframe it, because when we're having fear based on what we were just talking about, it means that we're taking massive action. If we're taking massive action, we're growing. We're getting out of our comfort zone. If we're taking that massive action and we feel this fear, usually we know that our actions turn into some type of grander result known as a success, right? Massive action usually turns into a success. We'll use this in a diet or an exercise situation. If you go out and run every day, 3 miles a day, 7 days a week for an entire month, and you want to lose some weight, and you combine that with healthier eating choices or consuming less calories, guys, what do you think the result's going to be? It's going to be weight loss. It's going to be healthier body. It's going to be all those things that are getting you where you want to go and the whole reason you want to get there. However, people fear, am I going to do enough? Can I do it for 30 days straight? I can't really eat good this weekend because football season just began. How am I going to get around not ordering the pizza with the family? You hear all these things that go on in our mind? When we know that all we need to do is the fear of, oh, is my wife, she likes to cook that night, and I don't want to upset her because she loves making that fried chicken. It's all self-sabotage. It's all it is the mind playing tricks on us. When all we need to do is go out and run 3 miles a day or bike 3 miles a day or get 30 minutes of activity in and make better food choices to get where we want to do. But people don't do the action. Beth Momentum and Boricua, I saw come in the room. Thank you so much for coming in. Guys, thank you for inviting it out with your followers. Are you getting some knowledge? Are you sitting here and gaining some knowledge out of this? Put a 1 in the box if you are. Classy Boricua. I hope I said that right and didn't butcher that. Hello to you. Great. That's it. Fear of failure causes failure. There you go. Fear of failure causes the failure. Because you're scared of failing, you don't do anything to even create the action to have success. And I always say there's really no such thing as failure. There's really no such thing as failure. There's just stopping. Once you stop, you failed. But if you continue to move forward, even though you're having these minor setbacks, you're having success. So, he talks about this. We need to move towards the fear. How many of you had a boogeyman in a closet as a child? Put a 2 in the box. Put a 2 in the box if there was a boogeyman in your closet, underneath your bed, behind your open door, whatever it was. If you had a boogeyman in your closet or in your room as a child, put a 2 in the box. I know I had it. I know I had it. But what did I have to do? As a child, we have to do this. 1, we either call our parents, or 2, you do what I did, right? I was a man. I was a boy. I had to go check for myself. I had to move towards the fear to check it myself. And every single time when I moved towards the fear, guess what? I had success. Why? Because there was no boogeyman. It was my mind. It was my fear. But if you move towards the fear, you will soon realize. But if you always call mom and dad, fear of failing and the fear of sound, every other fear is learned. I love that. Ruben, I've read that somewhere else. The fear of sound. And what was the other one? The fear of sound and what? I gotta go look that back. I read it out loud and then I forgot it. We're born with 2 fears, the fear of sound and falling. Falling. Everything else is created in our mind, right? So falling and sound, right? Everything else is in our mind. The boogeyman was in our mind. But what we need to do is move towards that. So Grant says, in the same way in life, we have those clients that we feel like, oh man, I got to call that client back. Fear of speaking to the boss is an indication that you must march into his office and ask for a moment of his time. Fear of requesting the client's business means that you must ask for their business and ask and ask and ask again until they give you the money, right? So that you can sit there and support your family. The more time you devote to this fear, the more time you devote to this fear, the more apprehension you get. The more you think about it, the more time you give it, the more apprehension you'll create. So starve the fear of its favorite food by removing it. And time is the food of fear. Can somebody type that in? Time is the food of fear. Where is that info, or who quote is this? Boom. Here you go. 10X rule, Grant Cardone. That's what I'm reading from and reviewing. The book can be bought at the bit.ly link here. bit.ly/action10x. And you can get it there, okay? This book is phenomenal. This is just chapter 16 that we're talking about. So do you know how I do this with my audience a lot of times, guys? I remove fear for people. How many people in here know someone or themselves have the fear of live broadcasting? How many of you know, put a yes in the box if you guys have seen people who want to but are scared to live broadcast, right? Lorena, you admit it. I know Matthew, I know Coach Ruben, I know all of you see that. I see it every single day. Every single day people want to broadcast and people are like, I'm not going to do it. So what I have done to remove some of that fear is, one, I've created the Scope Train. And you could go and check that out on Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. But what I've done is I've created a Scope Train, number 1, where they have a ton of support. Somebody just gave me a quote of the day. Words are words, and action is commitment. Words are words and actions are commitment. That big ding that came through was a text coming through my phone that said that. Words are words and action is commitment. Somebody shared that with me so I could share it on my quote scope. Where was I? I lost my total stuff when that came through. Oh, random past the casts. What I've done is in a scope like this, I got 20 plus people. Dining Happy, thank you so much for joining. In a scope just like this, I've seen people and I'm like, hey, how many of you would like to broadcast but have that fear? Put a 1 in the box. And guys, if you have that, put a 1 in the box. Put a 1 in the box if you have a fear of broadcasting. And I'm 700-800 scopes in, guys, and I still at times have a fear depending on what I'm going to deliver, because I want people to show up and I want to deliver for you guys. So people, how is the book? The book is phenomenal. We're talking about it right now, chapter 16. Chapter 16 right now, we're going over talking about fear and what it means. So I literally say to somebody, would you like to broadcast right now? And then they're like, oh, I'd love to broadcast. I'd love to broadcast. I go, great, go set up now. This is what I want you to do. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Oh my God, I'm this. I'm like, there's 20 people coming in to support you guys because we took away the time. They're not thinking about it. We collapsed the time. Then they get in their scope. I give them 5 minutes. It gets pushed back over to me. And I ask them the question. Did I get into the masterclass? No, I have not. I'm talking to George about some things, but I am highly considering it. It's a time issue for me. So what I've done when I do that when I do that pass the cast, they come back. I say, how did that feel? It felt great. It felt exhilarating. It was phenomenal. Can't wait to do it again. And those are the things that you got to do, because you collapse that time, you lose that fear, and then people overcome their fear simply because it wasn't as bad as they created it in their mind. Literally, I just got off the phone with somebody as I was prepping for this, guys, a half hour ago, and I said, hey, I only got a couple minutes. They said, hey, I'd like to interview you for something. When is a Monday night that you have available at 7 o'clock? I looked at my calendar. I'm like, I don't know what it's about. Book me for next Monday. If I'd have thought about it, I'm like, oh, what is it about? What do you want to interview me for? What are the questions going to be? What is this? What is that? What if I don't have time? I just put it in my calendar and we're ready to go, guys. I collapsed the time. I just said, look, the next Monday, if it's free for you, it's free for me. Let's do this. That's how you take action, right? I love that I put these things in the notes. I was like, hey, random pass the cast. The time to do anything, guys, is when. When is the best time to do anything? True point. What state or city am I in? I am right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And if you guys, let me reintroduce myself. Let me reintroduce myself for a second, because a bunch of people, there you go, Matthew put it. I asked the question, I'll let him answer. The best time to do anything is now. If he would have said tonight, he actually asked me for tonight, but I couldn't do it tonight. The best time to do something is now. Guys, as you sit there and ponder things, time is a wasting. Time is a wasting. We're going to talk about this in the next chapter real quick. Don't waste your time. It's our precious asset. For those of you who don't know who I am or where I am, my name is Ryan Roy. I am a coach, a success coach. I am reviewing the 10X rule. You can find out more about me at my website, which is ryanroy.me. Hello, Serena from Maryland. That's just a quick recap, and then we're going into the rest of the 10X rule, because I want to give you guys this information. What he talks about, we need to collapse time and do things now. Thinking is going to magnify, and it'll give you more reasons, more justifications, and more excuses not to do something. So whenever you're pushed to do something, you feel fear come up, say, when is the soonest time I can do this? Book it and do it. Just commit into it as fast as possible so that you overcome the fear. So, recap of this chapter, some homework for you guys if you want to do it. What are 3 of your biggest fears? Right? What are 3 of your biggest fears? Whom do you fear contacting that could help you improve your business? That's the second one. The next thing is, what did you learn about fear from this chapter? And go and take action on whoever it is that can cover that. No apologies, Rafia. You're here. Do your work. That's about time management, and you are managing your time in such a way that you accomplish your stuff before mine. Number 2, guys, chapter 17. We're going to cover it right now. The myth of time management. You want to hear a funny thing? I literally left my phone in the other room knowing how it can go nuts with notifications. How many of you get 1,000 notifications a day from Periscope alone? Then Facebook, then texts, then Twitter, and all of these things, right? I get a ton of them too. So I needed to prep for this. I gave myself a half hour to go through the 2 chapters and put the notes down. So I put my phone in the other room. I came back, guys. I'm not even kidding you. I counted them really quick. 57 notifications. 57 notifications and texts and updates and things that I needed to look at in a half hour. Could that be a distraction? We need to manage our time. Is there a contact or email address on the website? Yes, there is. If you go in and contact me at ryanroy.me, that's my name. My information is there. ryanroy.me right there at the bottom. If you want to take a screenshot of that really quick, feel free to do it. Or if somebody could go in there and type ryanroy.me for me, I'd appreciate that. So, Grant says that throughout his career, he's found that most of the people concerned with time management or balance in their lives are the ones who believe in the notion of shortages. Thank you, David. I appreciate you do that. They believe in a notion of shortages, which we covered several chapters ago. Most people don't even know how much time is available to them or what tasks are most necessary to accomplish in the time that they have. If you don't know how much time you have or need, then how on earth can you expect to manage or balance it? You're welcome. Logical love, I appreciate it. How can you expect, I can't tell you how many times people underestimate how long it takes to do something. And I go, that's all right. You time block an hour for that. If you've never done it before, it's going to take you 4 hours. And over time, you'll get better at it for you to condense that down into 1 hour. But the first time go at it, anything is not going to take 1 hour, people. You know it and I know it. If success is the main concern for you, then spend most of your time doing the things that will create that success. If losing weight is important to you, and I could use business, but I like the overall weight loss thing because people can relate to that. And I don't know who's in the room, right? If we're business owners, what? But we need to take more action in life, people. If losing weight's important to you, don't you think it would be important to 30 minutes of walking? Don't you think it'd be important to you to drink more water? Don't you think it would be important to you to consume less calories in food? Those are the actions you must take in order to be successful in that area. So whatever success means to you in whatever area that means, go and take the actions necessary in order for you to create that success. I can't tell you how many people will say, I didn't know I needed to drink more water. Man, I don't care who you are. You know to drink more water to lose weight. Because there's 0 calories in it, and it makes you feel more food, and it cleanses your body. Thanks for the hearts, whoever's tapping out like a crazy person there, David McCormick. I appreciate you doing that. Interesting point. We make time for what's important, not what we think is important. So this is an interesting point. We make time for what's important, not what we think is important. So, no, we actually make time for what we think is important, not for what actually is important. And that's why we're not having the success as we desire. Do the actions necessary that are important. It's important for you to eat clean. It's important for you to go and get exercise. But we're over here going like, oh, let me think about it. Man, I got to go run this morning. Oh, man, I don't feel like running. Let me hit the snooze button. These are the actions that things are happening. True Justin. It's Ryan, just so you know. I get confused with Justin Cap'n Pro sometimes, but I'm Ryan. So he says, it's all good. It's all good. It happens to, it probably happens to him and happens to me. That's what you meant. No, I appreciate it. I had to make sure I read it right? Grant says that he's not interested in balance. He's interested in abundance. How many of you, put a 5 in a box, if you're interested in abundance? And in order to have abundance in all areas of your life, guys, we must take massive action. There's no way you're going to get abundance if you're sitting on your keister thinking about doing things. If you want abundance, put a 5 in the box. If you don't want abundance, you should probably just leave the scope. If you guys, the title confused you, it's chapters 16 and 17 of Grant Cardone's 10X Rule. No problem. It's if you want abundance, stay here. Just come in and crush it. Come in and think about what it is you need to do and go take action on it. You know what I find interesting? There you go at 10. What I find interesting is 17 people in the room and 5 5s coming up. He says take massive action. Take massive action. And I'm going to call you guys out here because that's what I do. Take massive action. And I ask you guys, can you type a 5 in? And you want to have success in your life, but you can't type a 5 in. And I may lose people, and I'm good with that because the right people will stay in a room. Think about that. You want massive action, but you can't even type a 5 in the box. And that's a very small action to engage with somebody who's asking you to engage. Where else does that show up in your life? How you do anything, I coach this all the time. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you can't show up and type a 5, guess what? You're not showing up in other ways of your life. Everybody in here who's tapping out, everyone who's tapping out and everybody who's commenting with me are people who are already in my life and who are sitting there already giving massive action in their life. It doesn't even matter to me. The people who are already commenting and doing it without me asking them to do it, the ones who are tapping the screens are the people who are already taking action because that's how they do everything in their life. Everything in their life is that's how they play. They play full out. I don't go into people's scopes and not interact. If I'm not going to interact in somebody's scope, I may as well be watching YouTube videos. I don't go into people's scopes and not tap hearts. Anytime I'm in your guys' scopes, guarantee you're going to get hundreds, if not thousands of hearts from me. Why? Because that's how I play. If I'm playing full out. And too many people will come into someone's scope and be like, man, that guy's full of shit. I'm not full of shit. You guys are full of shit. The ones who don't want to interact, you're wasting your time. You may as well not even be here. Because if you're not going to interact, when you have a book and at the end of the book it has questions, when you get to the end of the book and it has questions, you don't answer it, you're not playing full out. You're reading a book, you're not implementing. The whole reason people and authors put questions at the end of a chapter in a book, you want to know why? So it'll get you to take some freaking action. And if you're not going to take the action, you're going to read the book, but you're not going to answer the questions, you're not implementing. So sorry I went off my little rant there. Everybody has the same 168 hours a week. The facts are this. The average individual spends 23% of their time at work. 33% of their time asleep. I don't sleep that much. And 16% of their time in front of the TV or on the internet. That assumes that you spend 100% of your time at work actually working, which we know is a falsehood. Because people take smoke breaks, coffee breaks, run to the copier, go to the bathroom, waste their time on the internet. And then they think they deserve that paycheck at the end of the week for a full 40 hours of work. That's what they think. They think they deserve and are entitled to it at the end. Kim Buchanan, thank you so much for coming in. See this? Kim Buchanan comes in, immediately says hello. She immediately invites her followers. She immediately invites people on Twitter. And then when she's done, I see orange hearts in the room. And guess what, guys? That's what she does. So when I ask her to play full out, I don't need her to play it full out. She plays full out. I don't have to ask her. She's a doer. You're entitled to what you work for. That's why I like being a salesman. That's why I like owning my own business. Because I know that my production is solely relied on me. Nobody's paying my bills if I don't show up, guys. If I don't show up for my clients, my bills don't get paid. It's that simple. And I love that aspect of my life. I love that aspect of my life. I don't have a problem going 10x. Boom. Most people to claim to value time, but many don't seem to know very much about it. Let's assume you have 75 years to live. How many years do we have to live, guys? How many years do we have to live? And I just said it, 75 years to live. We have 75, type of 75 in the box. Type 75 in the box. Boom. There you go. Thank you guys so much for engaging. I appreciate it, especially after my little rant there. I thought the numbers were going to go down. We got 75 years. That's approximately 657,000 hours. Rafia got to put in a 76. I love you. She's going to live for 76 years, right? She's going to outlive us all. That is, guys, 3,900 Mondays, 3,900 Tuesdays, 3,900 Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But let's assume that you're 37 years old and you have 1,950 Mondays left. We only have half the time left. That's it. That's in a 75-year lifespan. But here's the thing. What if you only had $1,950 left in your pocket? This is what... Would you watch it slip away? Or would you do whatever it took? Would you do whatever it took? Thanks for the 10,000 hearts there, Matthew. Would you do whatever it took to grow that $1,950? Or would you sit there and sit on it like most people do? I believe, and Grant believes, that you guys can do more with 1,950 Mondays than the average person. But here's the only way you can increase your time, guys. We're going to talk about time increasing and time management. If I do 15 phone calls in 15 minutes, listen to this. If I do 15 phone calls in 15 minutes, and it takes you 1 hour to do 15 phone calls, I've increased my time by 45 minutes over you. It's only because I took more action than you took. That's the only way that I get more time than you. And if I close 15 deals in 15 minutes and I get paid on those and it took you guys an hour to do it, guess what? The difference is who's getting paid faster. And if I'm getting paid faster, I've created time becomes money. Time becomes money. And if I could do 60 calls and you do 15 in that same hour, and I close half of my deals and you close half of your deals, guess what? I've created more time and more resources for me and my family. So that's what Grant talks about in the 10X rule. 10X your actions so that you can increase your leisure time or your time for the things you enjoy so that you could have abundance in all areas of your life. But in order to do that, the first thing to do when managing your time and seeking balance is to decide what's important for you. Boom. When I started my business, can I share with you guys a quick story? Quick story in regards to starting my coaching business. I decided in my coaching business was this. My family is important to me. My family is important to me, and I managed how I wanted my business to run. I do marketing and sales Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I coach on Thursdays and Fridays. Weekends are for family. Evening time is for family. Sleeping is minimal. I work from 7 a.m. to about 5, 9 till about midnight, 1 o'clock. That's it. Monday through Friday. Weekends, I do any catching up I need to do, but mostly I spend time with my family. Why? Because the abundance is the abundance of time I get to spend with my family. Notice I said from 9 till midnight or 1 o'clock. But listen, between 5 and 9, that's when my wife gets home and my son is home, and that is family time. You guys will very rarely see me on Scope, social media, anything at those very prime hours. Why? Because my focus is my family on the weekends and the time that they're here. And they're not in bed. And if you could start wrapping your head around that, if you could start wrapping your head around what you want to design your life for and what's important to you, my family is important to you. My son is important to me. Why is he important to me? Many of you know, but I grew up without a father. There is no way on God's green earth my son is going to grow up without a father, because if he has a father that's present here but not present with him by interacting with him, I may as well not be present. Therefore, from 5 to 9, it's his time, and weekends is his time. Boom. But that's what's important to me. What's important to you, and create your structure, your lifestyle, or your business around what's important to you. Too many times people will tell me that their most important thing is their family, and I ask them how many hours a week they work and how much they travel. And they're like, 80 hours and I'm on planes 20 hours. How much time do you spend with your family? Well, you know, I provide for them. They have the things they need. They don't have you. Your family is not important to you. And you don't like hearing that? So be it. But guess what? People tell me that church is important to them. How much time do you spend reading your Bible? How much time do their religion is important to them? How much time do you talk to other people about it? How much time do you spend fellowship with other people with the same beliefs? And they're like, well, you know, I'm spiritual. I have my relationship with God. Well, that's awesome. But other people's perspectives can allow you to grow that relationship. So get involved with other people who have some of the same beliefs and can put you out of your comfort zone of those same beliefs. Right? But don't tell me you're spiritual and that's super important to you when you don't engage with anybody else. You're living in your own little world. Serve your God, whoever that God is. And don't sit there and tell me that it's, well, I go to church once a month for an hour, and that's good enough for me. There you go, Nancy. I didn't even know you came in the room, Nancy. Thank you so much for being here. So he says, and I have my clients do this. Do this, guys. Mark down every second of your day where you're spending your time. When I say every second, I mean every single second. This is going to allow you to see all the ways in which you waste your time. Yup, Christmas and Easter, that's when we go, right? And honestly, I just started going back to church, guys. It wasn't a priority of mine. It wasn't something that I was like, hey, this is important to me in my life right now. But it's now important to me. I literally had a conversation with my wife this weekend. That's why I can bring it up. Because I don't like to talk about something unless I'm doing it. I don't like to be a hypocrite. Beth Hoover, I saw you came in the room. Thank you so much for being here. Is boom. I am new to my faith. I am new going back to church. I am not that well versed in the Bible. I'm not that well versed, but I got a lot of questions. So they have a thing called Starting Point at my church. So I went to the meeting after church. I asked my wife, hey, can you wait 30 minutes or come with me or preoccupy my son? Something else went with the son. I went to the half-hour meeting, and then they had a time, 9 a.m. I could start the starting point for the next 8 weeks. And guess what? Guess what? The times didn't align. And then I talked to my wife in the car. I said, you know, the times were this. It's going to interfere with this and this and that. So maybe I'll catch the next one. And she said, look, if you want to go, we'll go to service. Listen to this. If you want to go at 9 a.m. is when we normally go to our service. She goes, you could go to the 9 a.m. and we'll wait for you afterwards because service is an hour and this course is an hour and a half. She goes, we'll wait for you. I said, well, maybe we'll go in separate cars. And she says, you know what? We could go in separate cars. I'll go do my shopping. You do your thing. And this is the thing. It takes me about a half hour to get to my church because the church I go to, I wanted to go to. Service is an hour, but it's about 35 minutes that they play on their app. So what I can do is listen to it on replay on the way back home. And that covers all the bases. I condensed my time, guys, because that's important to me. You choose what's important to you. But I found a way through time where I can say, I'll wait another 8 weeks. We found a solution as a family, and my wife's supporting it, and that's what I'm doing. So I don't need to physically be there to hear the message, but I don't want to miss the message, right? And I also want to get the information about this and my questions about this answered. So I'm putting myself in a position of people who know it better than I do, and I'm going to research it myself and get my own answers for me with some clarity. Make sense? But I created the time for it. I created the time for it. You find out what's important to you and manage your time based on what's important to you. Same thing with exercise. People, I don't have time to exercise. Get up in the morning, you'll have more energy, you'll sleep less. Go and get your exercise in. You have to decide how much you're going to use your time. You must command. Oh, wait. Nope. I need to go back a second here. I missed things. So when you're looking at those little habits and activities, when you track your day, you want to look at the things, and I'm just going to roll off the things, and there's a million of them. Xbox, online poker, watching TV, napping, drinking, taking smoke breaks. Those are just examples he used in the book. Just take more action in life. Great example of your son and how to balance time and family. Always do it, Melanie. That's my whole purpose is my son. So if I'm not devoting time for him, then we can't do it. But people aren't realizing what's most important to them. Or their actions aren't in alignment with what they say is most important. Your actions tell you what's most important to you. If you, and this is me in the past, if I block out an entire Sunday to watch football, football's more important to me than the people that that I say are important to me. Your actions tell people what's important to you. If sitting on your butt watching TV all day, that means you're not aware of what you claim is important to you. Because if those things were important to you, you would be spending time doing those things that you say are important to you. Brutal, isn't it? He says. Brutal. Yes, it is. But if you don't manage your time, I promise you that you will waste your time. Brutal. If you're not managing your time, I guarantee you, you will be wasting your time because you're not aware of where it's going. You have to decide how much you're going to use your time. You must command, control, and squeeze every second out of it in order to increase your footprint and dominate whatever area it is that you choose to have success in. The word he used, dominate your marketplace. But in our culture, and we're coming to an end here, guys, in our culture, we're frequently encouraged to, hey, slow down. Hey, relax. Take it easy. Find some balance in your life. You work too hard. Can't you just be happy? See, but most people can't sit back and relax, guys, and take it easy because they haven't done enough to free themselves of the meager existence that comes as a result of meager actions. Say it again. If you're not managing your time, what did I say, guys? Oh, you're wasting it. If you're not managing your time, you're wasting your time. If you're not managing your time, you're wasting your time. And then consider the types of traits this thinking has created in people. Relax, do the things, don't work so hard. Ready? Laziness, procrastination, lack of urgency, feeling like a sloth, a tendency to blame others. Guys, have you ever heard anybody blame anybody else for their stuff? You're not managing your time, you're wasting your time. That's right. A tendency to blame others. Irresponsibility, right? People don't have, no problem, almost done here, FC, but I appreciate you staying in. Lack of urgency, irresponsibility, entitlement. I deserve it just because I showed up. An expectation that someone else is going to solve your problems or someone will manage your time for you. No, thank you. That's it, right? Your boss or your employer. Facebook are rolling out new buy and sell feature on my TV. First thing going on there. So guys, take control of your time so that you can take control of your life. Right? So think about this. If any of you are interested in a coaching call with me, on my website at ryanroy.me, feel free to go do that. If you want the 10x rule, you could go get it at that bit.ly link, bit.ly/action10x, and you could visit me and get your free coaching session. At the top of the page, it says complimentary coaching session at ryanroy.me. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate that. All those things are you, Rafi. I know that's why I get on you every time you're in my scope. That's why you've learned to be quiet, because all I hear as a coach is excuses. All I hear is excuses. The name of my company is Justify or Just Do It. And guess what? It takes the same amount of action, guys, to justify it as it takes to just do it. Thank you, Kimberly, for that. Kimberly was a client of mine a few years ago. And I love your scope today because it's a process, right? It takes time for all these things to evolve and realize where you were and get to where you want to go. So, these are the questions at the end of the chapter that I was harping on a little bit. How much time are you at work each day? Hello, Patty. Great to see you. How many time are you at work each day? How much time do you spend on wasteful activities every single day? You're right, because it's my job is to call people out when they're giving excuses. Stop giving excuses. Go and do your thing. But it also interrupts my scopes. So if you're going to interrupt my scopes with negativity or falsehoods or any of that, guess what? I'm going to call you out on it. That's it. And that's part of me managing my scope. What are some of your own time wasters, guys? Think about it. And what did this chapter teach you about time? And those are the things. So, guys, take me up on the offer. We just talked about. I've got great excuses. I always say to people, I say to a lot of people when I hear the excuses, I was like, you know what you should do? You should write a book. Thank you, Serena. I appreciate it. I say you should write a book, and the book should be titled My 1,000 Excuses, because people will come up with so many excuses or reasons or justifications. And I say, don't come to me with problems or come to me with solutions. Come to me with a solution. I don't want to hear your problem. You tell me how you've thought about solving your problem. You tell me about how you're going to solve your problem, and I'll help you adjust that thinking to get there quicker. I need results. I don't need to hear about your problems. I need results. Now, people have challenges. I call them challenges. I don't really call them problems, because I believe that challenges are something that we overcome. Problems are just problems. So if you ever work with me, I'll say, what are your challenges? What challenges did you have this week? I never talk about problems. Problems have such a negative connotation. Excuse 999. I couldn't come up with number 1,000 because, boom, I like it. Because I need to put it in my next book of another 1,000 excuses. So guys, my name is Ryan Roy. I'm an accountability success coach. If you want that opportunity to speak with me, feel free to go to ryanroy.me and schedule that call. Also, the next goal that one day I'll have a reason not to work so hard. There you go. I work hard on getting to the next goal so that one day I'll have a reason not to work so hard. I love that. I love that. Guys, that's where it's at. So I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for sticking around with me this long on this scope. It's been about a 45-minute scope, a lot longer than I normally scope. I want to acknowledge those of you who stayed in the room till the end. Beth, thanks for popping back in. Serena, I appreciate you. So I always acknowledge the people that come into my scopes by acknowledging them by name, because the number one thing that we love to hear most in this world is the sound of our own name. So David McCormick, thank you so much for being here. Kimberly, thank you so much for being here. Kim Buchanan, I appreciate you. Ruben, Coach Avalos, thank you for being here. Beth, I appreciate you for popping in and out and participating at a high level. Lorena, I love you, girl. When I see numbers like that, I'll let you know this. I only get 2,000 of those hearts. So unless you pop out and pop back in, 7,115 hearts. Is that talking about interaction and taking action or not? Thank you so much for doing that. Roman Gonzalez, appreciate you being here. Alisra, thank you for being here. Veronica, I appreciate you coming in. Serena Williams, thank you for being here. Patty Pearsons, love your voice, girl. I love you doing your thing on your plank challenge. Melanie, I appreciate you being here. Lee Amy, thank you for being here. Rafia, thanks for coming in. For those of you who are still here, I appreciate you. If you guys are not following me and you got a ton of knowledge out of this and advice and you like the scope and the energy, feel free to click on the corner. I had to laugh at the name that came in. So let me talk about that for a second. No problem. So cheap defines cheap. You guys saw the name that just came in, right? Whether they stay or not, I would never call myself cheap. I may be inexpensive, I may be a lot of things, but I'm not cheap, right? And I don't think that says a lot about somebody, that self-talk. That self-talk. Somebody came in and their name was one cheap bitch. How crazy is that, that someone values themselves at that little, that they call themselves cheap and a bitch at the same time? It's not somebody who you want to associate yourself with. Because even if it's jokingly, every joke has a lot of truth to it. And that's how they believe in themselves. They believe they're a cheap bitch. And I don't want to be associated with people who believe in themselves at that level. And they're going to surround themselves with people that allow them to believe that about themselves. And guys, that is so not the way we want to live this world. That person needs people to love on them and surround themselves with people that can love on them. Whether they're in the room or not, I don't know. Can't tell. Doesn't matter to me. But you want to surround yourself with people who won't allow you to have that name. You come into my room with that name, I suggest you change the name and start thinking of yourself more highly and start getting into scopes like this one. Start getting into scopes of people who will uplift you. Surround you with people who will empower you. Right? Right? Yeah, you could never be duplicated, right? You got to sit there and you got to surround yourself. We only got this one chance at this life. And we have choices. We can think negatively about ourselves or positively about ourselves. But I tell you what, you surround yourself with people who will empower you and uplift you. Guess what? You'll start believing some of the things they're saying. Because it doesn't matter what we believe. It matters what you believe in yourself. But if you hear it enough, you are more precious than gold. I'd like to be cloned too, but the one that's over there, I wouldn't know what's going on. So what's the point of cloning, right? So surround yourself with people who care about you, who are going to uplift you and speak empowerment into you. All right? Thank you so much, Patty. So I'm going to get out of here. Have an amazing day. That was a fun scope for me, guys, because it's stuff. I don't know whether they'll watch it or not, but when it came through, it's just sad. It's just sad that people feel that way about themselves. I don't want people to feel that way about themselves. No, it's somebody, I guarantee it's someone who passed through for just a moment. Probably clicked on the wrong thing when it came across their screen. And but I got to teach on it, which is awesome for me, right? And you all got to hear it. So everybody have an amazing day. I'm going to enjoy and have an amazing rest of my day. And until tomorrow, we'll talk to you. God will lead them back. I hope they do. And if not, God will lead them where God needs to lead them, right? Have a great day. Bye-bye.